welcome back everybody to the Rose Experiment podcast, which we are actually going to be changing the name of. It's going to be now TREAT, which stands for...
The Rose Experiment Arts Team.
I like it.
Yeah.
When did we come up with this idea?
Well, it's a name for the team, our core arts team that Bobby here, our director, came up with months ago, I think. I'm just now implementing it. So
it was on the burner, we should probably do this.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, now we have an official name, so
Yeah.
I like that very much. Very cool. So today we decided to go on a topic in terms of artists, and more specifically artist inspiration. And the main concept for this podcast is we kind of just want to go over between ourselves, just personally, because we all come from different artistic backgrounds. I don't think any of us are alike. We may have some things that overlap, but our main artistic drive, or what we like to do, is very different. And so today we're actually going to be going over how our artistic process works. And I know that for the people that are watching right now, your process may be completely different from the way we do it. So today we're just kind of going to go over that and discuss our artistic process. So what's the first thing probably going to talk about actually is, I'm not sure. What do you want to, what do we want to talk about first?
Back to you, Julie.
Back to you, yes.
Back to you, Jason.
We'll just keep putting it off back and forth.
Well, maybe just the simplest thing to start with would be where you like to be when you produce your art, when you create whatever it is that you love to do.
Okay.
Environment.
Yeah, what you like to be going on, what you don't like to be going on, that sort of thing. Yeah, if you have kids, screaming is a little
Like the sound of
unavoidable.
children crying and screaming my name. Yep.
And you refer to where we actually like to work, right?
Yeah, where specifically, but what's going on around you. Because I personally am very controlling of the environment when I do anything. So I don't know if everyone's like that. Some people can just art anywhere, everywhere, and that's awesome. That's an answer.
Yeah.
I have to be in a specific state of mind to
How so?
fully be creative.
Elaborate. What do you for your process? Not what do you need?
I need to be alone. That's essential. I usually need music unless it starts to get a little cluttered. It's only been a couple times that I'm drawing something where I have to really focus.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Oh, that varies. It just has to be moving. I could go into it all day about music, but it just has to be moving. I have a very specific playlist. That's a little fun thing. I don't know if it would help any other artists, but me specifically, whether it's painting or drawing or coming up with ideas or writing, I have a specific set list of stuff that inspires me, like songs that I like to listen to.
On Pandora?
No, it's on Rhapsody. It's specific songs that if I hear something that inspires me, I'll add it to the playlist.
Did you know Pandora has a thumbprint radio now, so all the songs you like, it'll play on a certain radio station.
What?
So cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. It just blew my mind. I got an email the other day and I've been listening to it nonstop. So,
Oh,
so
cool.
cool.
Awesome.
Well, for me, I'm kind of similar in your ways that, and I do have kids at home, so finding that quiet space to actually work, for me doing video editing, can be difficult. But I'm pretty similar. I like the room to be quiet. I do like to be alone, not a lot of distractions, and that's really pretty much it. The thing is, though, I've been able to work in other different settings. I've come to the library before just to kind of work and stuff by myself, as long as it's quiet. My room specifically, where I'm at, that's pretty much my main place where I'll work. I'll sometimes go out in the dining room, and let my girls and the kids sleep, so. Because the computer screen is very bright at night, and don't like to keep them up, so I'll go out to the living room and work out there sometimes late at night, when I have a project I'm trying to finish up. And I don't really like to listen to music when I like to edit and work, just because sometimes this happens, the music will kind of motivate my editing, and unless I'm doing that for a specific project, I try to avoid that. So. I don't want to be listening to heavy metal rock music when I'm trying to do a very somber scene for a business, for example. So, and that's pretty much my main work area. Is kind of really anywhere, but as long as it's quiet and by myself, I'm usually good to go.
I work in pretty much any element that I get the chance to work in. And I do lots of different stuff. I do a lot of graphic design. Mostly things for this project lately. Writing and stuff.
This is
And
probably the last 5 years then, right?
yeah.
This is your one big piece of art.
But I have 3 kids, so someone's always wanting something. So I typically just sit on my bed and listen to classical music and work.
Oh, nice. What kind of classical? Very nice. Any particular?
I like really soft music, like jazz and like Beethoven, just like things that are going to be calming to me.
Good old Ludwig. I actually have a very interesting thing in mind that I kind of want to also bring up. Like, is there a specific time that either of you, for example, like don't like to work? Like for me, example, morning time.
Yeah.
I can't work in the morning. Like that's my time to wake up and
Oh wow.
That's actually, morning is my
I-
thing. And
me
late at
too.
night.
yeah.
It totally produces different work, but early morning and late at night, totally different things that come
Yeah.
out of it, but I like those the best. During the day, it just sucks.
Like midday, pretty much.
Mhm.
Like, oh, okay, interesting.
I like morning, but I don't have time at all in the morning. So, well, on the weekends I work in the morning. But yeah, morning I feel a lot more motivated and I have ideas flowing and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's probably why school and work all makes you go in the morning.
Yeah.
They want to take that from you.
Steal that artistic soul. No, you must apply this to mathematics and algebra.
I like algebra, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is an art form.
Wow.
It's-
Wow. Have you not seen the episode of Bones where they dealt with vectors?
Oh my god. You guys are so funny.
She liked it apparently. Yeah, no,
Oh yeah, I've seen the show.
I've seen
Bones is
I've seen a
a
couple
phenomenal
episodes, but I'm
show.
not.
You should watch the Vector episode. It's really depressing. He
You
made,
need to watch it. It's really
but
good.
it's so good.
It's awesome.
It's so good. No spoilers, but it is amazing. Okay, so now to me. Worship me.
Oh my god! Going all out, I guess. This better be good now.
You guys are all right.
Actually, no, it's
really.
So I am definitely the opposite of everyone. Oh, the right side of me, I love chaos and I have to have the TV going, my laptop's on, I'm listening to music. I just seem to focus better, which sounds weird. I focus better on drawing when I have background noise. So I don't really mind if there's people around me, as long as they're not watching me, because I have weird performance anxiety. I dance, but I have performance anxiety. And yeah, so I like a lot of sound and a lot of noise, and but it also has to be like, it does have to set the mood. Like the music or the TV show I'm watching or a picture I'm looking on my computer or whatever, it has to be, if it's a sad piece with a lot of cool colors in it and a lot of like darker shades, it has to be a somber tone. I have to be focusing on an image or watching a video or watching a TV show that has more of a dramatic feel to it. So that's, or if it's happy, I have to feel, warmer or just, I don't know. It's just all about the environment it varies, but there has to be chaos around me. Like I don't know if you guys ever noticed this, but I always move my foot, always. I can't help it. I just have
No,
to.
I've never noticed that. Oh. I'm gonna notice it now though.
Yeah, about to tell you right now. You say, "Oh, let's move it."
Nobody likes to sit next to me or like sit under like on my feet because I move it, I tap my feet and it freaks them out. So I've always been that way as long as I can remember. So I like a lot of movement. And also I have ADD, so a lot of the background noise, which it's weird, it helps me focus, but it allows me to be able to draw the picture, but then be able to watch TV and then listen to the music and relax and then go back to the picture and then, oh my god, the internet's there, so let's go look at cats, like...
So it's actually a really effective system.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time for me to finish a project.
Use lots of mediums of inspiration there.
Yeah.
How long does it usually take you to finish a project?
Oh my god. Okay, doodling.
How about the last one maybe?
The last large one I did, it is a watercolor piece, and I was like, I just kind of went with like a sort of a totem looking thing, but everything was realistic. And I'm still working on the painting, but I got the sketch done.
Oh, good.
So, but no, the sketch didn't take me too long, but all the added little details into it, that took me at least 10 to 12 hours. So of me being ADD, so 10 to 12 solid hours, but like in a matter of days, like at least a week. Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, the type of environment for me, like, I have a lot of different artistic things that I do, drawing, and then, like I said, ASL.
Which,
but
before you get into that though, this is our guest.
I,
Yeah, you can give a wave, you know. Island wave. Friends, you guys are friends, right?
No.
No. Okay, sorry. We found her on the street,
stopped
and
going all day. Yes.
we decided to bring her into here to the podcast.
I didn't smirk this time.
Yes, you did.
But after.
Okay, I'm working on.
But anyways, introductions.
Yeah.
Okay, now you know her.
For me, like, the type of environment I have to be in is, it varies on my mood, emotionally. It's either I'm listening to music out in the middle of the woods or up at the top of the world. I don't know if you guys know where that is in Reading, but it's kind of cool. It's where you can kind of see like the sundial and the river and the
Hilltop, right?
highways. Yeah, on Hilltop. And then there's another one over near Mary's Lake, which is really cool. I like to be kind of out in the nature, really. And if I'm not out in the nature listening to music, drawing, I am in the church, which is where I used to sign. I was up on stage listening to a bunch of music, a lot of drums behind my head. And that's where I really focused on being able to not only being able to hear them perfectly vocally so that I can sign the language, sign the songs, but kind of give it my own feel to it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Your own dramatic flair.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and just elaborate for a second. When it comes to ASL, we were talking about before we actually started, you do something very specific when it comes to songs and ASL. Do you want to kind of explain what you do?
When it comes down to, for American Sign Language, I do a lot of music. I interpret the songs based off the wording. A really good song, My Savior Lives. It's a Christian song, of course. It's very fast, upbeat, very empowering. So you have to have a lot of facial expression, body language, hand movement has to be dramatic. It really depends on the song. Every song is different, and every interpreter interprets it differently.
Okay.
But all essentially has the same meaning.
Okay. And do you do this live, like when the band's playing behind you? Do you interpret the music to the audience, or
Yes.
you do? Oh, okay. All right. So every signer, are they called signers or
Interpreters.
interpreters? Okay, interpreters are very different. I actually never knew that. I thought there was kind of a base that everybody.
Every signer is different, but you are taught when you originally learn. I personally didn't learn originally from a book. I learned from my sister-in-law who is deaf, and my mother who is also an ASL interpreter. She taught me a lot of what I know. But originally, every interpreter starts at the baseline of either it's a deaf family member or they learn from an ASL book that is taught in schools. But not all schools provide ASL classes, which is really tough because, shockingly, there's a lot of deaf people in Redding, California alone. That's a very large community, and a lot of people don't know that.
That's kind of sad. Do you know, like, offhand, like how many schools up here maybe actually do teach ASL?
As far as I know, I believe only Shasta High School and Shasta College provide it out here.
Enterprise and Foothill?
Enterprise and Foothill do not provide it. I know they used to come to Shasta High before and
Oh my god, I remember.
come to Shasta High for the ASL classes.
Okay, so if you're a deaf student who goes to Enterprise or one of those schools, do you have to transfer to that school, or do you take separate classes? Like
Actually, when a deaf person goes to an actual public school, an interpreter is provided.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They can request. I believe it's something called Sony or something like that. That's out here, which is where you can go and get hired. You have to have a certification, of course, in order to interpret in an educational area, of
Okay.
course. But it's actually quite fun. Being around a lot of teenagers might not be so fun, but it's definitely a learning environment for yourself, because when you're interpreting, you are.
So you have done this before, right? You
Yeah.
have done, okay.
Not in the educational field, but in other environments, church, local events.
We harass our friend Dom regularly.
He's a
I
deaf.
force him to teach me cuss words.
That's usually how it works whenever you first start learning language. So what's all the bad words that you guys know, like the worst?
Just so I know to avoid it.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah. Or if I hear it, I know when someone's talking smack about me.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they wouldn't teach me those bad words. I had to learn those on my own.
Okay.
Dom's a good reference. It's a very good reference.
But yeah, it's definitely a very interesting language. It's very inspiring, that is for sure. Something for me is I use it because deaf have a hard time communicating with the hearing, and a lot of hearing, when they find out they're deaf, they're like, oh, so you're deaf. Like they can't understand you. They're not dumb.
Yeah.
They're deaf.
Big exaggerated mouth movement. Can you read my lips?
Not anymore. It's like, no, just talk normal. If they can read lips, then they can read lips.
Which
If
is
they
hard.
can't, then they will write something on a piece of paper if you don't know sign language. But it's quite inspiring.
I'm wondering, like, is there a percentage of deaf people that can actually read lips? I mean, is that something you just kind of are
I
able
think
to
it's
learn and
pretty
pick
small.
up?
It's like
I don't know the percentage exactly, but there was a time where the deaf students were forced to read lips and verbally talk because people didn't like sign language.
Mhm.
So they actually forced sign language out of schools for quite a few years.
Oh,
And
wow.
in order to keep the language up, they would secretly sign outside the school or behind buildings
in
and things like that.
bathrooms.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fun history lesson.
It's like the dark ages for a foreign language.
Was it called I think it was actually called the Dark Ages or the Dark Era or something like that.
Something like that.
1900s to 1960. Thank you, Miss Griffith.
This is my understanding of that most deaf people don't probably want to talk because they know that they won't sound, normal to the
Most
to the,
if they're deaf from birth, then
regular
yeah, they don't verbally say anything most of the time. But it all varies on different people. Like my sister Tiana, when she signs, she does sound some words out when she talks, when she's signing. She would do that for me so that I could catch on to what she was saying and sign. So not only was I catching on it auditorily, but like I was also catching on it hands-on and visual at the same time, which is why I learned it so quickly.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well, then I have to ask then, can you give us a demonstration, something really quick of an interpretation of a song maybe or something you've done for the church?
I want to play a song.
That would be great.
Oh, there we go.
Really? Unless you want to sing it.
But
Not
introduce,
singing.
no, is
I
it,
dig it. Let's all
She's
sing.
great.
Ransom can sing a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can sing.
that's true.
yeah, whatever you guys want me to sing.
Serenade you. That's sweet.
Building the bridge between the hearing and the deaf community. That's my inspiration from my mom, and that was passed on to me. So that's all that really matters. As long as they have the ability to communicate. Also, deaf really like it when they can teach people instead of having someone that is hearing to teach.
Yeah.
Because it's just the sense of pride when it comes down to the
It's going to be
language.
empowering to do.
Yeah, the power to communicate is, very important because then they don't feel isolated.
Yes, I know.
Anybody,
Indeed.
right? Yeah.
No, I
It's
do
all
not.
my fans. This is live. Is that good?
I don't know if it's
I think it's creates the
but-
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What song is this?
My Savior
Oh,
Lives,
okay.
which is a Grandpa Gary.
Fucking hits me down.
Normally it'd be easier to stand up and do this, but
Can we stand?
I'll do it.
We can stand.
Stand it!
Okay.
Yeah.
I love
Nice job.
unexpected things like
That
that.
was
Yeah,
really
that's cool.
passionate.
It's really cool live too.
I bet. Because she can be more demonstrative.
Oh yeah, it gets crazy. Gets
It's
crazy.
awesome, especially like when going with a live.
You guys are so
Yeah.
It's just like jumping with them while you try to sign. It's fun. It's fun.
That is
a lot.
so
That's awesome.
Thank
I
you for
definitely.
sharing.
Yeah, thank you
That's
for sharing
awesome.
that. For sure.
All right, Ransom, you're up next.
Well, hey, I had the advantage of listening to all all
Mhm.
your perspectives, and kind of made me think about it. And as a songwriter, you want to feel the vibration, whatever that vibration is. So it just depends what type of music that I want to write at that time. I have to get myself kind of in that mood, and so I kind of work. I changed something, so I changed a variable or add a variable to get a different result. So like, for instance, now I'm writing with a virtual band, and that's just a very different kind of realm for me, but it's working out really well because, we, besides being, having distance between us, it adds a different dynamic, you're not there in person with, in person, sitting across from, but you feel connected still, and they're in a different environment. You're not in the same room, so there's a different vibe there that you get, just that way. But if I were to write a lot of upbeat music, I need a lot of chaos. I need a lot of and I've realized that over the years, you change as a person, so your art does change, and so you got to go with the heartbeat of who you are at that time. So I realized that I write a lot more, or a lot better, I think, or differently when I lack sleep. It leaves me in a more vulnerable state. So it leaves me open. And art is about being open. And you have to capture that emotion, otherwise it doesn't connect. Because, there's always that intellectual level that you try to connect on people, or with people, if that's the type of art you're doing. But essentially, it catches your emotion. It reaches you in an emotion. So that's the trick for me, to try and get to that root emotion, so that when it comes out, it feels that way. Otherwise, it feels artificial. It has to be, very organic. That emotion, raw emotion. So, but as far as like how I write normally with a guitar. Sometimes I bang out the piano keys. I like to write alone, but usually I have a lot of stimuli overload before I write alone. Then it's just like, bam, everything's right there. And sometimes it comes quickly, sometimes it takes a long time. I've had songs that I've written over years. In fact, I just, brought one out to some of my virtual band members. It was like, it's been 3 years. And there's some songs that I write in 15 minutes. And I go, you know what, even if it's not, quote, a hit, I'm going to keep it just like it is, because it just feels right, and I think that's the most important thing, that it just feels right. You're always thinking about how the audience will listen to your music, because, it's not all about you, but then it is all about you as far as being the instrument that, feels those vibrations and then relays that out. So, Yeah, so mostly alone, but I've written some things with crowded rooms, might be in a party and somebody has a guitar and I pick up something and start strumming something, get my iPod, sing in there, and then go home and work on it later. But, the idea comes in a chaotic environment.
Do you ever go through like drafts and stuff? Like, I know you said you've written songs before in like 15 minutes, but do you ever, like, is there any change? Or it's like, this is the first draft, like, and that's what you just kind of walk away from?
Very early in my writing career, because I think I had a preconceived idea of how to write and what I needed to write. Whereas, now you just think of it as being an instrument and you just are open and you want to do the right thing according to that moment. So it's kind of like, you got to stay in that moment and just be keenly aware of your awareness, where you're at, but not do the filtering process then and there. That comes later for songwriting anyway. Songwriting to me is like, it's poetry with the audio part of it. And so when you write poetry or any literary art or works, you do have to go back and revise. And so some of these songs that I've written over years, I've revised maybe 30 times. Whether it be a note, a word, a phrase, or a whole structure of the song, arranging. So it just matters on the song, trying to be true to the song. My main collaborator and I, he always says, you got to do right by the song, just give the song what it needs. And so I think that's the most true statement that I've heard, even if it's not a hit. But I like writing hits, and I'm still on the process of doing that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but there's that other. I come from the era where there's albums, and I like those album songs, that won't be hits, but they still mean something to somebody. Hopefully more than just me,
Yeah, which the days now in radio that I've just seen this, I know there is like a certain time structure that artists are allowed to work into because they'll often have radio edits for certain songs. And sometimes those songs will be, upwards of 10 minutes long, but they have to shorten it down to a limited amount of time, unfortunately, in order for it to play on the radio. I guess they're a cap it's like 4.5 minutes or 3 minutes usually, at least what I've noticed. It's pretty much once you fall in that range, you can't go much lower than that.
3 to 4.5 minutes. If you go Coldplay, you got 4.5 minutes. If you go anybody else, it's 3:15, 3:30.
Yeah. Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
How long do yours generally range?
About 3 to 3:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any long ones that you've?
Yeah, I have some songs that are like 5.5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just because some songs, you conceptually it builds. You think, oh yeah, this is the way I want to make it sound, or this is the way it's coming to me. It builds, like a production will build. So it's more of a production thing, adding instruments and adding different arrangements and melodies to kind of make them intertwine. So yeah, different things. But I'm really at a good spot, I think, artistically, because I'm really much more open than I was just 6 months ago. And it's amazing, as artists we try to find those times because there are those droughts too.
Oh yeah.
Where you go, man, nothing's coming. But I think the most important thing for artists is just to keep on being out there, whatever, go travel, do a different activity, because you're getting different stimuli. And so you're going to be, hopefully, inspired, right, and write a little from a different position or different perspective.
Correct. And I've learned that the artistic process for a lot of different artists, it's a lot of it is also very emotional based. For artists, whenever we have certain shifts or changes in our life, big moments in our life, we have to usually find some outlet or way to express that and to just kind of get it out of our system.
Right.
And sometimes that process, so you can have droughts. That's not necessarily because you're having you are having a block, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. There's just certain moments where you're waiting for that inspiration to come to you, whether it's
Mhm.
emotionally, visually, or physically, or any other type of auditory response, smells, for example.
Yeah.
So I've definitely noticed that sometimes when I'm editing, when it comes to film at least, there are certain projects. I mean, I do have my standard projects I do for clients and stuff, but every now and then, sometimes I get little inspirations or, that from just everyday life that I'm not able to film, but I always will write it down. So that way it's a project maybe, you want to do later. Because as something else with artists, you have to balance sometimes your professional life and your personal life. And being able to have those personal projects that you may not be able to do right then and there, but hopefully someday you'll have an opportunity where you can finally get it out there. And when you do, it's kind of all the more special.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was listening to Bobby, right? And Bobby said, I actually would probably be more creative in the morning, but I have children, have responsibilities.
Yeah.
But maybe that pent-up frustration comes out later. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes out a little bit differently, maybe not as, how should I say, not when you wanted it, but it still comes out a little differently, maybe more force, I don't know. But yeah, we're always trying to balance that, Gotta do
That's
what
why
you have to do.
That's why I think it's so important for us to have the center, because I think it's important for artists to be able to work in an environment that is creative and create while you're in that environment.
Yeah.
And there's so many artists that have to work 40 hours a week and
Mhm.
they're just drained afterwards.
Yeah.
Right, and you come to an artistic, creative environment, you do feel inspired, right?
Yeah.
You feel that energy, those vibrations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially being around like-minded people, because with artists it's sometimes hard to find those connections, with people, or not even sometimes knowing that there's other people that share some
Yeah.
artistry, in your field. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I work with like 500 people and we do a lot of exercises to get to know each other, I guess, kind of. It's a great place. And they, so many people are artists and it's just weird because you never know until you actually have deep conversations with people what their passion is.
Right, right.
And it's just cool that everyone has an outlet like that.
Yeah.
Well, most people.
Yeah,
Some people are just drained and don't
And talking about
Watch
meeting
TV.
people too, that obviously inspires you just by being around them, but a lot of times you develop relationships and collaborate, and obviously you get
Yeah.
a different end product, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
And that's part of, what I was saying, that it's a good time for me anyway, as an artist, because I'm collaborating more. Not that I never wanted to, but it just happened that I
Yeah.
am collaborating a lot more with a lot of different people, so it's very exciting that way.
are you say you're doing digital band?
Virtual.
Yeah,
Virtual
virtual
band.
Yeah, Voodoo Virtual, we're called.
Virtual.
Voodoo Virtual.
Voodoo Virtual, really? That's cool. When, how did this come across? If you don't mind me asking, how did?
Oh, no, not at all. No, I met most of these, actually I met all of them at a conference that I went to down in LA. And one person's from Canada, one person's from LA, one person's in Maui, I'm here in Reading, and one other person is in Palm Springs.
Well, you guys are all over the
Wow.
place.
Yeah, we're an international band.
Yeah,
Thanks to the guy who's in Canada.
that counts. Actually, that counts. Very nice. Okay, cool. What conference was that?
It's called Taxi. It's specifically for songwriters who are trying to place. Taxi is mostly a licensing company.
Okay.
They forward. They're like a hub, and they get all the music from different people who are trying to vie for placement, a forward and a placement for entities that are looking for specific music, like production companies, TV, radio, well, mostly TV and film.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Very nice. And you guys just kind of met there, and things kind of went from there.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, a lot of cool people there.
Very nice.
Talk about energy.
Yeah.
I was about to
Yeah,
say,
I bet.
that's got to be like a stimuli overload
Yeah.
at some points.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So our next topic, I kind of want to delve a little bit into how we got started, more specifically, what inspired us, or where and who inspired us. Like, we all have certain people as artists that we look up to, or icons. And, I kind of want to delve into a little bit of who we kind of admire artistically, and who we've kind of drawn inspiration from in order to pursue our own goals. I'm kind of curious who wants to start that off, of who kind of inspires us or who we look up to in terms of artistry. Tell you what, I'll go first. Sit there once. It's jumping so
No
hard.
willing souls except you.
No, I'm actually a big fan of Zack Snyder, the director. A lot of people are not too familiar with what he does. That's okay. He actually has done a lot of amazing films. The first film that I ever saw him direct was the remake of Dawn of the Dead. After that, he did 300. He's done more specifically. He's doing the new Batman versus Superman film. He did the last Superman film prior
I'm
to
surprised I don't know his name.
Sucker Punch. A lot of people don't actually.
Sucker Punch, that is a great movie.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Zack Snyder.
Oh, okay.
I believe actually he's a Canadian director.
Reminds me of pretzels. Aren't they like Snyder pretzels? Is that a thing?
I have no idea. Is there? I have no idea.
We digress because maybe we're getting hungry.
Yes, I am kind of
Oh,
hungry.
God.
Actually. Don't get me started on food. But anyways,
I don't want
so
pretzels.
So what's inspiring?
So
you
yes,
about pencils?
for Zack Snyder, I really like his visual style. I'm very much a visual person, and the way that he moves the camera, presents characters, and just the color and feel and tone of the film, I really enjoy.
I'm thinking 300
Very
right now, so I'm
intense.
like really.
No, always very intense.
Yeah, it is very intense, and you know he loves slow motion. If you watching his
Okay.
films, he really enjoys using slow motion. Certain scenes like the panning sideways and following Leonidas as he's slaying all these Persians,
That's right.
moving in slow motion and stuff. I mean, I could go on and on about what I love about him, about what he what he does.
What
We'll
stuff
go
did he
over
do?
the
Like-
podcast.
Does it? Yes, but I'm very much a fan of. That was, I think, kind of a point where visually I really just kind of liked his style. And I really kind of latched onto it. So I've always enjoyed, listening to the commentary during all of his films, kind of seeing his artistic process, kind of what he, went into and stuff. And, it's different for everybody. Some people like comedies, a lot. Some people like dramas. I'm a big fan of action, adventure films. And Zack Snyder is currently my favorite director who really does that story and genre very well. So, yeah. I'm sure I'll.
Now I'm definitely gonna remember his name.
Yeah.
And now I'm excited
Remember
for
the
Batman
name.
versus Superman.
Think about pretzels.
Maybe there is not.
The
I
day
feel
that
like
Zack
there is.
Snyder became synonymous with
When
pretzels.
if she watches one of his movies, she'll.
Yeah, I know. She's gonna probably gonna sit down and have some pretzels. Oh yeah, now I remember.
Zack Snyder!
I swear, or like
This movie tastes salty.
like a sourdough pretzel, like
Could use some nacho cheese.
use some chocolate,
Oh.
Nutella. Is it Nutella or Nutella? Off topic.
Nutella? I don't know. It's that Tella thing.
Tella.
You can't tell.
Tella.
There's no telling.
Yes.
No Well, I'm pretty sure nuts. Like it's from.
That's what I was thinking, but I heard Nutella.
It's Nutella.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
It
Yeah.
that
So
really
you're the one
bothers me.
putting that word in your head.
Well, Teddy says Nutella all the time.
Really?
My boyfriend, and I always thought he was just being goofy.
We could probably go to the, no, we're not going to the website. Okay.
Right, yeah, so, Bobby,
Yes.
you're a person of
Are you done?
inspiration. I feel like you were. It seemed like it. We
Yes,
just
I'm
started
done.
talking about
I'm done.
pretzels.
I'm so confused and
And cut.
hungry.
No, I'm done.
I want to stop
Go
talking
ahead.
about food.
Okay, so for art, the first thing that I practiced when I was a kid was the violin, and I fell in love with it. I was at school, and they gave me one and taught me how to play it, and I played it well, and I liked it. And then I stopped playing, and I don't know what happened. I didn't have a violin anymore when I left school, apparently. And my favorite artist that inspires me the most would be Vladimir Kush. He really tells a story with his art, and it's the first piece of art that I really fell in love with and realized that I loved art. I was like 21 years old in Vegas, Vladimir Kush gallery, and it was awesome. And I realized from that point on that I really like seeing art and going to art galleries and seeing art shows and things like that. It's one of the things that definitely inspired me, but we need more of it here in Reading.
What's his style like? what is his style of art? Like, what does he do? Like, can you describe it?
Surrealism.
Surrealism, thank you.
Okay.
I'm good at categories and labels.
Yeah.
Can you describe like a couple of his paintings or works that he's done?
Metaphorical Journey is my favorite painting, and it's very big and long, and it's like about this high. And it just tells a story from one end to the other, and it's very, I can't explain it
Let's
at
just
all.
pan it across a thing maybe, or send a link to it.
Yeah, definitely go see it if
Yeah.
you can ever go to a
Tell me
That's
about
the
it.
one with
That's
the
pretty
lines
good.
around, right? The one with the lines.
There's a
across.
lion,
Okay.
there's
I know
lions
what
in
you're
the
talking
clouds and stuff. It's very, you have to search and find things, you know?
Okay.
Reminds me of Where's Waldo? Like finding art.
Found him, finally. God.
Yeah, like every time I look at it, I see something new too. It's interesting.
Okay, very nice.
Cool.
Your turn.
My turn, I guess. Do not
I like
worship
that.
me, please.
I like the.
She did. She gave a little. Go, Julie. Go, Julie.
Okay, so there are probably plenty of famous people who inspire me. Most of them not on this earth anymore. But I have to say my mom. I don't normally think of her as an artist, but she sang beautifully. And she's one of the reasons that I have such an appreciation for art. And I think, because you're talking about beginnings, I think when I started really wanting to create art, it was when she passed. And it was mostly inspired on what I saw in myself that reminded me of her, and things that didn't remind me of her and myself, like just everything, because there was a lot of chaos in her life, and there was a lot of emotion, and for some reason when she passed, I felt the need to channel her emotions, and that's still going constantly. So, like we're talking about like dry spells and stuff, I haven't had a dry spell in a while, but what I have is lack of motivation to actually do it. I have pages and pages of like ideas, and I've probably only made like 4 total pieces in the last year. So, but yeah, I think it's the people who are closest to us usually inspire us the most, I think.
Oh, yeah.
She sounded a lot like Janis Joplin. So
Wow.
I think by extension, I'm inspired by Janis Joplin when I listen to her. So
I am so sorry. I know no names. I am inspired by the weirdest thing. Like I just anything and everything. I don't know. I have this. I don't know how to explain it. I have this longing to learn and know and see and feel, and just I'm very I'm a sensory sort of person. I like to I don't like just one specific person. There's no one that really just is my inspiration. Not just one specific person. I'm inspired by TV shows with cartoons that are lighthearted. Over the Garden Hill. Oh no. Oh, the Led Zeppelin. Over the Hill Far Away. It's a great song. So Over the Garden Wall. That.
the worst.
But I'm inspired by musicians, and I'm inspired by visual artists, and I'm inspired by performing artists. I just don't really have a specific person in mind. I'm very shallow when it comes to things I look at. So I don't if I do look into something deeply, then it must move me. I'm bad with names, so I can't really give any specific examples. Just if something catches my eye, I don't know. I have to keep it, or at least a piece of it.
The world is your palette.
Yeah.
In a sense, you take inspiration from all different aspects,
Yeah.
which that's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, inspiration is where it comes from. It's more personal, in my opinion. I always get a little frustrated with people who criticize artists for quote unquote stealing ideas, and I don't mean that directly. I'm talking about like they see something and maybe they put their own little spin on it and they say they're like copying them, but they're not. you know, you take your inspiration from wherever, you know, wherever it comes from, you know. And same concept, I feel, my example of this is just whenever people remake films and people get angry, well, it's not the original. I said, well, no, it's not meant to be. It's meant to be whatever that artist interprets it, you know, differently, and that's going to happen. You know, what if, for example, you see a wall, you know, how you visualize it and how, you know, anybody here visualizes it is going to be completely different, you know. So it's okay to have not one specific inspiration. It's wherever it comes from. So
And what's that quote? There's a quote by Picasso somewhere that talks about that, and I think it's something like bad artists imitate or copy or something, and then great artists literally steal the work. Because when you steal something, it becomes yours, as opposed to copying it and it's still theirs because you just did the exact same thing. But if you steal it, you're completely changing it. And I think, yeah, you didn't choose one specific person, but yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's how that went. He said it eloquently, but yeah, but no, you described that perfectly about that.
oh, cool.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
All right, Dana, you're next.
I don't have any specific one person. I actually have 3 people that really inspired me in my life, and the things that I pursued in art, sign language, drawing, music, and all of that. And that was my adopted father and my mom, and my grandmother. My grandmother was a very wise woman. The things that she would talk about and give advice to, really really put me in a place where I could visualize it and put it out there on a piece of paper, or through my emotions of signing, or through whenever I played the guitar or the piano or the drums or sang, I would go through what she said and I would put that to it. My adoptive father, he got me into music. He's the one that helped me learn how to strum a guitar or how to do the D note, or, you know, just different things. And then with my mother, she's an interpreter, and she was able to inspire me of my love for the deaf community and the desire and the want to be able to be that bridge for the deaf community, for the deaf to be able to feel like they are not a separate entity but whole with the world, and with us in the hearing world, and that they have people listening, and that they have people on their side and willing to go to the end of the earth to make sure that they are well put together and that they have everything and anything that they need, in any way that they need it.
Well, I think you have 3 very good inspirations in your life that have shaped you who you are and what you do. So, you know, very cool. Very nice. Thank you. All right, and Ransom.
Yeah, again, I'm the last one, so
Yeah.
so it's nice hearing a lot of perspectives. Yeah, what I hear is like influences and models and people who inspire. For me, you know, the average person, the average artist, just any artist inspires me in the sense of it creates art. We create art and keeps art alive. And I know not everyone gets to maybe have their art become public, because a lot of people want to keep it for themselves, which is fine too. But I'm just inspired by people that they create art in a sense that it's part of the oversoul, so to speak, you know, of just art out there that is part of that creative energy. But I mean, specifically, you know, I definitely have to, you know, thank my parents, you know, for being there for me, and I've had a lot of other adults that kind of modeled really great behavior for me, and so that, you know, kind of mold me, and hopefully I'm a decent human being, that kind of a thing. And then when you talk about influences of music, you know, talking about the art and craft of music, then, you know, I think everyone can probably find one Beatles song that they love. Well, I find all Beatles songs, and I love them all. and and for different reasons. But I definitely like the Beatles, Paul, with his melody writing, and his melodic bass lines, just phenomenal. So I think that kind of inspires me or influences me a lot, because I think, whatever song that there is, usually great songs have some kind of great melody in it, whether it's a vocal melody or some instrument that's carrying some type of melody in there. And lyrics come later, which are important too, but most people catch to the vibe, the beat and the melody first, and then they get hooked, and then they listen to the lyrics. And I love writing great lyrics too. I try, but so that's the influences. And there's a lot of great artists out there today. I really love the music nowadays. There's a lot of great music out there. I'm jealous, because when I grew up, I thought there were great music, but I think right now, I think the music's the best it's ever been. Seriously.
That's actually
And I love the
kinda interesting.
60s. I love the
Yeah.
60s energy, but like nowadays, man, I think part of it is the
I think
technical
yeah.
aspect. There's such good sound, that you can make, and I know a lot of people do auto-tune,
Yeah.
and that's not really organic in a sense, but still, it's different, and I like it.
You're very, very one of those few people that actually says, sometimes there's a lot of people that hate on the music nowadays. It's always been for every generation, back in my day, music was at the top of its peak, but
Right.
the fact that, you're willing to say, I believe it has gotten better is actually really interesting. And especially, there's more stuff available and out there. It's genres, subgenres, and the fact that people have more access to it.
Yeah.
That's
I think that's part of the reason why it's pushing up that level of creation,
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think.
artists are emerging,
Yeah.
and they're inspiring other artists.
Artists are emerging.
Yeah.
Multiplying.
Yeah, so.
Well, very nice. Actually, Rez,
The
I
Beatles.
do kind of want to ask really quick. Is there like a specific genre that when you first started off, you really kind of liked? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Beatles fan. They're
Okay.
definitely pop. So pop, but just flavored with whatever, country or a little R&B or soul. But it's at the heart of it, it has that pop flavor to it.
okay,
Yeah.
very nice.
Flavor.
Nice
Pop
like
flavor.
that.
Yes. Tastes sweet. Very nice. All right. So we're actually going to have to wrap up here really quick. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about or discuss last minute?
Yes, I do.
Yes,
Always.
As a
Look,
matter of
look.
fact,
As a matter of fact, yes. Take it
Bobby
away.
here mentioned the center. I don't know if I just want to touch base on that in case anyone here watching this video doesn't have any context information.
I don't have any context information.
Yeah. So the Rose Experiment, that's our organization, and Treat, our team, is working to build the Rose Art Center. And that's a future project. It's our baby. It's our dream. And that is what we're hoping will inspire artists and art enthusiasts and just every local in our area in Northern California. And we'll provide a link below for that.
Yes. Cool. And
Crushed it.
and we'll provide a couple of links on maybe I'll provide some on Zack Snyder. Ransom may hook you up and put your website down there and stuff to find out more
Yeah.
about you. Bobby, if that artist, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pronounce
Vladimir Fish.
Vladimir Kush.
Like Dane Kush.
I'm
I'm sorry, I had to make the joke.
What if Daisy gone?
Okay.
Cut that out.
Talking about the painter.
Painter, yes. And yeah, actually, is there any information that maybe you would like people that we can provide a link for, like down below, that they can look at more information?
As a matter
if
of
they want to
fact,
learn about ASL.
I haven't done any actual videos myself. I haven't had the time because my life is hectic.
That's okay. Well,
Not alone.
but is there any like organizations maybe you can think of that people maybe want to learn more?
The City Church. That's I mean
Okay.
I used to go through them. That's where I started. That was where my mom started.
home base.
All right. We'll provide a link then below.
So gangster, Rachel.
Word.
Is there anything you want to touch bases last minute? I'm not bowing down to you anymore.
And we don't want to talk about
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to I'll provide a link to my interview with you.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah, because I'm starting a new series. I forget what it's called, but I'm going to be interviewing local artists. And it's going to be a wonderful interview. It's totally fine. You're stressed out for no reason. But it's going to be a beautiful article about little Miss Lou Malone here. So, yeah.
All right, so, do you have a name for it yet? For the
I
series?
have a name. I don't remember. She's the first one.
Okay.
Treaty.
So, Treaty?
the Rose Experiment Arts Team interviews.
Treaty! Okay.
I like it. End on
Putting
that
a pin
note. All right, yeah, so we'll put all that in the description below. Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching Treat, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Smile and wave.